I am so excited. We have Rebecca Harwood here today from Mother Nature Heals, and she is our feature guest today on Holistic Health Adelaide. So thank you so much, Beck, for taking the time to come and have a chat with us.
Oh, thanks so much for having me, Lucy. It's really exciting to get this started.
Beautiful. Today we are going to delve into one of your big passion areas and specialities, postpartum health for women. So it is one of the most transformative and often overlooked chapters in a woman's life. While pregnancy tends to attract all the attention once the baby arrives, the focus quickly shifts to feeding schedules, sleep routines, and baby milestones. Such an exciting time, but supporting and nourishing the mum after one of the biggest experiences of their life, most likely, is hands down one of the most important things that we can do to really give a child their best start to life. So very excited to have you here, Beck. You are a business owner, a naturopath, a nutritionist, a Beyoncé enthusiast, I'm told, and a mum to a very inquisitive and very busy 3-year-old daughter, and the founder of Mother Nature Heals, a beautiful clinic in Port Noarlunga that really specialises in supporting and nourishing women and their children. So we are going to dive straight into postpartum and why it matters so much, what often gets missed, and how we can better support mums in those tender moments after birth. So Beck, we'll dive straight in. Can you share a little bit about what drew you to postpartum health in your work?
Yeah, absolutely. Well, firstly, thank you for that very kind introduction. But yes, postpartum health is a huge focus of mine. And, I used to focus a lot on preconception care and pregnancy health. And absolutely, that's important. However, like you were just saying as well, I feel like there is a huge focus area there. There's a lot of information around that through the Western medical system, but there's also good information around more holistic preconception and pregnancy care. However, when it comes to postpartum, that really drops off. And I was seeing mums in clinic
Mm.
that they were depleted. And this was a very common trend that I was seeing in new mums, and new mums being new mums, so 6 weeks post birth,
Yeah.
but also mums with 2-year-olds, mums with 5-year-olds,
Yeah.
mums with 10-year-olds that were saying, I haven't been able to give my health a focus, and now I'm here.
Yeah.
And it's just been a real eye opener for me. And I thought to myself, you know what? I think that more of us need to
Mm.
discuss and really put postpartum health, which it should be, and it is in other cultures,
Mm.
but in the Western society, it is not. It needs to be up there with preconception and
Yeah.
pregnancy health, and it should be a priority in the preconception times as well.
Fantastic. We should
Mm.
be forward thinking and planning for this massive time.
Yeah,
Yeah.
which we are not, it's not common or not spoke about a lot for us to do so.
Yeah.
So hopefully we can start shifting the gear on that. Mm.
Beautiful. So, what are some of the most common health challenges you see in new mums?
Yes, a lot of new mums just tell me straight out they're depleted. So really low nutrient intake. It's anyone who is a mum can usually understand how hard it is to actually eat in that
Yeah.
early period. It's all well and good to say have all the meals planned and in the freezer, but it's
Yeah.
even hard to get to the freezer.
Yeah.
It's it's not
You
that
would
easy.
you would prepare these like nutritious. I was following all the baby books for my child when they started introduced solids, and then for myself, it would either be some leftover puree or toast, Vegemite and
Absolutely.
toast.
Yeah, exactly. And so many mums come in the clinic and I say, "What do you eat in the day?" And they're like, "Oh, look, I get a coffee and a banana." And I say,
Yeah.
"Okay." And if you're breastfeeding a baby,
Yes.
the energy demands are even more so increased. But even outside of that, just mum life, that is, our mums cannot survive on a
Mm,
coffee and a banana. Like we need proper nutrition. So sorry, coming back to answer your question,
yeah.
yes, they can't eat. They don't know what to eat because we're
Yeah.
lost. When we first have a baby, we're a bit lost with the nutritional side of things. So depleted in
Mm,
terms of nutrients, key nutrients for long-term health. But also I see really commonly, so a lot of fatigue. Obviously, when we start the journey of motherhood, there is a level of fatigue, but sometimes it can be beyond the normal fatigue. And we're talking
mm,
like 2, 3, 4, 5+ years later, it can still, we can still be feeling that other level of fatigue. Hair falling out is really common.
mhm,
Malnourished comes back into the nutrition. Um,
mhm.
Anxiety is a really big one
Yeah.
I see as well in the postpartum period. A re-trigger of immune activation. So anyone who may have had an underlying or an illness prior to conception, it
Mhm.
may come back with a bit more of a vengeance after birth and the hormonal changes there.
Yeah.
Common things I see like that could be thyroid, for example. Iron deficiencies are really another common one. Iron and
Mm,
B12, vitamin D.
yeah.
Um, yeah, off the top of my head, they
So,
would be the big ones. Yeah.
so I want to kind of go back and highlight there. It's such a busy time as a new mum. And some people might be thinking, oh, that's fine. I'll go back to eating better, when I can or when I have more time. But I think you've mentioned previously it is such an important time to be really looking after your body because the pregnancy, the birth, not just the lack of sleep but all these huge things have actually happened to your body. And I think that's not discussed in society as well. We go, okay, birth is just one day. It's fine. But can you maybe point a bit about how these experiences, the pregnancy and the birth, how they deplete the body and actually need that extra nourishment on top of, I guess, being a new mum and being busy and sleep deprived?
Absolutely. And I think that's a really good point because, yes, we don't allow ourselves, and sorry, I want to take that back and say it's not on us, it's
Yes.
society.
Mm,
It's not the mum's fault. There's no blame, there's no guilt. It's
yeah.
what is normal in our society.
Yeah.
And that doesn't reflect the amount of energy a woman has just used to create a human being and then birth a human being and
Pretty
then keep
amazing.
they keep the human being alive, so
Yeah.
so the it's the greatest thing, the most significant thing anyone can ever do with their bodies,
Mm,
and the healing talk around it is not there.
yeah.
It's like how we need to replenish those nutrients, we need to
Yeah.
replenish that blood loss, we need to
Yeah.
recover the nervous system changes, the hormonal changes, the whole lot.
Yeah.
But we are just expected that after that 6 weeks, 6 week checkup,
Mm,
we then bounce back. And that is
yeah.
the term that I cannot stand. Do you know, if you look on Instagram and do a postpartum hashtag, I know this is random, then one
Yeah.
of the first thing that comes up is postpartum body. Like, it's like,
Wow.
yeah, it's just
Crucial.
yeah, it's just wild. And, to change that, like
Yes.
there's a problem there,
Yes.
if that's what is
Definitely.
in the forefront of our minds when we think about
Yeah.
postpartum. So healing
Mhm.
after birth is huge. Yeah.
And I guess you just don't think about it. When you think about recovering from birth, all you think about is recovering physically from a cesarean or recovering, making sure, your stitches heal and all those types of things. We think about that physical aspect, but we don't actually, there's no discussion around what did my body just endure, how much nutrients, how much blood had to go into the 9 months of pregnancy and then the birth. It is a really crucial time to be bringing our bodies back. It's not just about losing the baby weight. It's not just about
Yeah.
getting your tummy back in shape. It's
Mm.
so much more than that.
It is on such a deeper level. And, in traditional Chinese medicine, we talk about how it takes 2 years to recover from one birth or one
Wow.
pregnancy and one birth. And
Yeah.
that's with no complications, going into it at optimal levels, like
Yeah.
that's the amount of time it can take. And when we find that women are healing at that deeper level, then all that superficial stuff that comes with it will start to heal faster. But the problem is we've switched that in Western societies and we
Yeah.
try and heal the superficial stuff first. And then the
First.
deeper stuff is just going along because pelvic floor healing, it's
Mm.
like you mentioned nutrients, all of this, it takes years.
Yeah. So, what are some core things that women can think about during this time? What is the best way to support our bodies after birth?
Yeah, well, I suppose prioritizing postpartum health
Mhm.
from the beginning is a really main focus, and shifting that perspective that I want to heal, and putting that up there with the priorities that all those other postpartum priorities that come, like what color the nursery room is, and all this, like, health, the woman's health needs to be number one. Um,
Yeah.
Obviously, baby's health is important, of course it is,
Yeah.
but mum's health is baby's health. If mum is
Yeah.
well, then baby will, generally speaking, obviously there's always exceptions to the rule, but
Yeah.
baby will be well. Um, but naturopathically, I do
Yeah.
like to mention a couple of things that I would always recommend
Yeah.
to mums beginning this journey. So I would always say in the planning, so before birth,
Mhm.
start thinking about your postpartum before you're in postpartum. So that's it always, you can connect with a family-friendly naturopath or a nutritionist
Yeah.
or a traditional Chinese medicine doctor, but someone who specializes in the postpartum period, because we need to make eating possible and
Yeah.
realistic, and not just here are the nutrients you need to eat, but how are you
Yeah.
going to get them in with one hand? Like what's going to be realistic about
Yeah.
how you're going to really eat?
And trying to make those connections when you are, 2 weeks in with a newborn is just, it's not going to happen. So that is a fantastic point. Have that support team, build it before
Yeah,
you go in so that you can send a
absolutely.
quick text message saying, wow, I need some support. Do you
That's
have
right.
advice? Yeah.
Yep, just like I always recommend, having a lactation consultant on hand, having a good
Yeah.
GP, having a naturopath or nutritionist, Chinese medicine doctor, however that looks for you.
Hmm.
I recommend, yes, like you said, having the contacts ready. That's
Okay.
right. Even if you don't need to use them, it's just,
Yeah.
they're there for
Yep.
support. But when baby is here, I do recommend a couple of things to people to think about. And these are sort of the core foundational that go a bit deeper, and they're harder, but they make a big difference. So I
Mm.
always talk about a confinement period. So in pretty much every other culture in the world, um, after baby's born, we go inwards. We just spend time with our
Mm.
family. The bonding time happens. And it's not about getting out there and showing new baby to everyone and the family coming over and everyone meeting the baby, everyone holding the baby, having that confinement time. So literally where you do not leave the house,
Yeah.
you or baby, mum or baby, is a really nice time to heal, to slow, and just be present. If you're
Mm.
feeding, you can get on top of that. If you're
Mm.
needing someone to cook with, you can get on cook for you. You can get on top of that. It's all like the little things. Whereas if we're
Mm.
rushing about, we can't heal and we can't do the foundations. I'd also recommend getting a meal delivery service in place ready so that
Okay.
when it's time, they deliver to your house and they are out there, some nourishing food. And it's not about taking any food away. It's about what can we bring in for the
Yes.
new mum. It's
Yeah.
just eating is key.
I saw this
Um,
fantastic idea of if you've got a friend that's having a baby, um, have a little roster
the meal
of
trains.
the meal trains. Yeah, so each person drops something round, so you don't double up, and she's just got some consistent food there. I thought that was such a beautiful idea. You don't need to go buy it. You can all just make something. even healthy muffins, those snack foods when you're breastfeeding, having them in the freezer is so fantastic to be able to whip them out.
That's right. Just one hand, go in, grab it and eat it, and then if you've
Yeah.
got multiple kids, it's just easy as well.
Yes,
So
that's true.
yeah, no, absolutely. And I also think about always considering co-sleeping with baby as well.
Mhm.
It's a big favorite of mine because we know that co-sleeping mums get more sleep,
Yeah.
and sleeping is healing.
Yeah.
And I know it's not for everyone,
Yeah.
and and depending on our nervous system as well,
Mhm.
it's not for everyone. That's a
Mm.
disclaimer out there, and we all want to do it safely, of course. But
Yes.
um, also, women who feel that pull where they are working against their body's natural biology, and how
Mm.
you are, if you're putting a baby in another room and you have to get up in the night, especially if you're breastfeeding, that's a lot. And
Yeah.
also getting up and down as well, that's not allowing your pelvic floor and any wounds to heal as well. So the more we can lay and be
Yeah.
in bed and rest is always beneficial. So, yeah, the co-sleeping just to
Yeah.
try and build some more sleep.
I know we talked about the common, I guess, problems that you see with women postpartum, but from what you're saying just there, what is the risk to women if we don't nourish ourselves during this time? If we
Yeah.
kind of just try, bounce back really quickly and speed through and have this sense of pride of, oh, look at me, I bounced back so quickly after the baby. What's kind of the risk further down the track?
Yeah, absolutely. I think that's it will unfortunately, I mean, if you have a baby in an excellent postpartum period,
Mm,
and you feel well and you feel great, then that's
yes,
awesome.
yes.
But yes, for women who start to not feel so good, and then
Yes.
they just keep pushing that out and
Mm,
just keep pushing it to the side, not prioritizing that, things don't usually, they may do, get better by themselves, but we don't want the rate of chronic illnesses
mm,
continuing to increase in women.
mm,
We know a lot of women are also dismissed by the Western system as well very
yeah.
quickly, just called, you're hormonal, oh, you're just, it's because you had a baby.
Mm,
No, it's we're women are not nourished like they were once upon a time. So
yeah.
the risk here would be chronic nutrient depletion. So malnutrition over time can lead to all sorts of chronic health conditions,
Mm-hmm.
and you name it, skin problems, hormone issues, um, gosh, anything,
Yeah.
I'm just, digestive
Mental health,
problems. Mental
mental health
health is a
is a mass,
massive one. It's a
yeah, which
massive
I
one.
think we don't link to that nutrition and the deficiencies. We just think it's in the head.
Absolutely. Yep. Yes. And it all stems from getting the right nutrients. So if we can increase those nutrients, because we lose so many in pregnancy and birth and
Mm-hmm.
breastfeeding, if that's
Yes.
happening, we lose so much. So it needs to be replenished, because then that can balance the rest of the body and give it the energy for avoiding chronic health
Yeah.
conditions. But like I mentioned before as well,
Mm.
if we have underlying imbalances
Mm.
prior to conception, if we're not taking care of our body in the postpartum period, then we often see them come back
Yeah.
again, and they could, expand
Yeah.
and yeah, and be more systemic. But
Yeah.
the thing about this is as well, it's obviously no fear around not looking after
No.
yourself. It's about it's never too late to start.
Yeah,
You
it's really that attitude change, isn't it? That's
Mm,
the core thing, not just in the woman, but in her support network and society.
absolutely,
How do
absolutely.
we, how can we, I guess, talk to our village and our partners about this?
Yes, definitely. And that's a great question. Um, the system,
Yeah.
in short,
Yes.
but it all starts with just one person, right? So if
Yeah.
one person can try and speak up and
Yeah.
source information and what feels right and
Yeah.
stay strong, it aligned with your values and what
Yeah.
feels right for you, and action as best as you can, as
Mm.
best as you can, that's suited to your life, and then having that education there
Yeah.
is where it can start, right?
Yeah.
So if we can educate one mum and she
Yes.
does a little bit of this. We can educate another mum, do a little bit of this.
Yeah.
Just start changing the shift by talking about it.
Make the
And also,
change.
yeah, making the change, and also honesty. Honesty
Yes.
story, being honest in that postpartum period as well.
Yes.
It's hard. It's not easy at all. And being open about that and sharing
Mm,
experiences with other women, I think is very powerful because, Instagram versus reality is a real thing,
yeah.
right? So
Yeah.
that's a problem as well. But if we can just start the discussion and start
Yes.
educating, and my plead for mums in their pregnancy journey is
Yeah.
to educate yourself around postpartum. However
Yeah.
that may look, just
Yeah.
start thinking about that earlier. And I think that if we can just start shifting, that if we can start helping mums to look at that and changing the perspective of postpartum, then hopefully we can create some change.
And I think that's beautiful. I think if we've got that knowledge as mums going into it, we can have these discussions with our village and say, hey, after birth, my body is going to be extremely depleted. I'm going to be breastfeeding if I can my child. And I don't know what's even the facts on how much energy and extra
Mm.
water and things do you need when you're breastfeeding. It's like,
Yeah, it's wild. It's 3 liters of water a day for a breastfeeding mum to be able to, support the hydration that she's losing,
yeah,
and literally double the amount of calories a day. So if you think, it's very standard, I don't work with calories, but this is just, an idea. So an average person might eat 2,000 calories. Yeah,
mm,
a breastfeeding mum needs, over 4,000.
yeah, all the snacks.
Yeah, so much.
No, nutritious health food, whole food meals. That's what I should be saying.
Yeah, but you know what? Again, I would never take a coffee and a chocolate away from a new mum,
Yeah.
like,
And nutrition wise, is there any the 6 week checkup with the doctor is always pretty quick.
mm.
Is there any tests or anything that you would be looking into specifically postpartum?
Yes, I mean, it all depends what the mum
Yeah.
is feeling.
Yeah.
But I would definitely recommend to keep on top of your iron and
Mhm.
B12 levels. They can sneak away quite quickly, especially if you've gone into pregnancy with low iron or had to have infusions or something like that in pregnancy.
Mhm.
Um, I'd also recommend keeping on top of any thyroid changes as well. That's a big one we can see go a bit wobbly in that postpartum time.
Okay.
Just avoiding any of those issues. Yeah, they would be the main tests that I would and vitamin D, sorry, as
Yeah.
well. That's a big one as well. Yeah. So they would be the main sort of blood tests I'd be looking at, main
Yeah.
markers.
Yeah.
Mm.
So, Beck, for new mums who are wanting to focus on nutrition, what are some foods and meals that they could prioritize during this time? Because as quick and easy as Vegemite and toast is, it's not really going to cut it if we want to build ourselves back up.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's the thing. It's like about how can we switch the simple things that are realistic and you are capable of eating to how can we get more nourishment into those meals. So for example, we could switch up the toast to an avocado spread with hemp seeds, for example, and we can bring in alongside that a smoothie with all the nuts and seeds thrown in and some fruits, honey, whatever you want to add into it.
Mhm.
And all of a sudden, you're getting nutrients across the board and you're getting good protein sources as well. So, that could be breakfast. And then, you look at lunch, something easy that you can grab. Maybe if you're really struggling, it could be another smoothie. Or if you have time, you could maybe make some a sandwich with chicken. You could have some leftovers from the night before, and you could put in some meats or some lentils if on the vegetarian option, with one other vegetable. It's something as simple as that. Then all of a sudden you have a protein, and
Yeah.
you have some healing nutrients from the plant variety in there as well.
Mhm.
So and then for dinners, you could do like slow cooked meals, just throwing in the meat, throwing in some vegetables. All of this you can do, most of it can do with majority of one hand.
Yeah.
It's just quick, easy, simple. Nothing needs to be complex about it.
Yeah.
And then you can get into, as deep as you want with it. You can start adding some Chinese 5 spice into your slow cook meals or soups, or you could
Okay.
add Depending on how far you want to go into healing, you could add pig trotters in there for the chicken feet, chicken necks, for the collagen and the
Okay.
healing nutrients that are so wonderful post-birth. So you can just keep going on all levels. But the main thing is about prioritizing that protein for mums and eating at regular points in the day.
So not just trying to snack, but really, focusing on those core meals and making sure they're nourishing and full of healthy fat and
Yeah, and snack away, snack away.
yeah.
It's just we want the mums to have the foundations there across the day, those protein sources, those healthy fats,
Yeah.
those carbohydrates, to be able to maintain her energy and to start replenishing those nutrients lost.
A slow cooker sounds like a great investment heading into postpartum. Hey, maybe if you've got a friend, all go in for the slow cooker as a group present.
Absolutely. I think that's a great what's the word? A great oh my gosh, when you found out you've had a baby and you have baby shower
Yeah,
present.
baby shower present. Yes. Perfect. I
Yeah,
love
baby
coming
shower
up with new ideas like that. So
present.
slow cooker meals. And they're more I'm really naive in this, but are they more nourishing as well, more gentle on the body?
Absolutely. It's slower cooked, so easier to digest,
Yeah,
more warming
yeah,
nature. You could add, you can add ginger, turmeric into it. Yeah, really
yeah.
beautiful. Mm.
And what does the Chinese allspice, what benefits does that have?
Yes, the Chinese five spice. So we
Yep.
know that, we lose so much blood during pregnancy and postpartum and then breastfeeding. If we go down that road as well, we're constantly giving our blood and our nutrients. So
Mm,
Chinese five spice is a traditional medicine that we can use to start replenishing that. And it's also really good for digestion as well.
beautiful. So add it on as the seasoning.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, great.
You can use it in seasoning, or you can use the herbs and actually boil them up within the meal to get that extra effect as well.
Beautiful. And did you say pig trotters?
I did. I did say pig trotters.
How do you prepare that?
I would boil them up on the stove. I
Wow.
actually think they are the foundation of ramen.
Really? Oh,
Yeah, I could be wrong here, but
okay.
yeah, I might need to check my facts there. But yes, it's
Yeah.
very high in collagen, as the chicken necks are, as the chicken feet. I know it might
Yeah.
sound quite shocking to some people, but again, these are foods that we have always eaten in
Yeah.
history, and
Yeah.
they are very healing. And it's also a very sustainable way of eating,
Yeah.
eating the whole animal, not just parts of it.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it's also a very cheap way of eating as well. At
Yeah.
the butcher, they have bags of them usually for under $10, and you can create a whole meal out of it.
Yeah.
Yeah. But of
Thanks.
course, that's, it's not for everyone. Obviously, there's
Yeah.
vegetarians and vegans that could be listening, and the lentil and those varieties and the chickpeas, they also contain beautiful iron content and have their own healing properties as well.
Perfect. So it just sounds like ways of trying to boost those meals that you're having and know the importance of making sure that you do take time to eat, even in the chaos of postpartum, because
Yeah.
that is what will heal you in the short term and then support you in the long term.
Absolutely. Eating is key, not taking anything away of what you want to eat. It's about adding in and sustaining that. Yeah, as hard as that is, but that is the foundation to every part of our body.
And did you say something earlier about warm water, drinking, when you fill up your drink bottle, having it lukewarm is.
Yes, yes. Warm water is very nourishing. A very nourishing fluid in our body. So if you think about when something is cold, it's harsh. Something
Mhm.
warm is healing, and it is softening, and it's melting. So when we first give birth, every single pore in our body is just wide open, and we do not want to bring in cold and harshness to that.
Yeah.
We want to bring in warmth and gentleness, a nurturing side rather than the harsh side. So I think we are, I don't know, one of the only Western societies, the only countries, the Western countries who drink cold water. If you look
Yeah.
around the world, all the other cultures actually drink warm water. So,
Yeah.
and there's a reason for that, because it's very healing.
Yeah, beautiful. Thanks, Beck. Oh, thank you, Beck. All that information is just so empowering, and I'm so excited for for more women to feel this importance of how special the postpartum period is, to really focus and prioritize that healing, because that's what will give their child the best start to their life. So thank you for the time and your knowledge.
No, thank you for drawing it all. Thank you for discussing it all. I think it's, again, coming back to what we were saying, this is how we can maybe reach a few more mums and start seeing that change.
Beautiful. Thank you, Beck. So some quick fire questions to finish off our chat today. I would love to know, what is your favorite postpartum herbal tea or remedy?
Yes, absolutely. Can't go past the Chinese red dates.
Chinese red dates. Okay, tell me why.
Yes, they are blood builders. So throughout the conception, pregnancy, birth process, breastfeeding, we are giving blood. You're giving blood to create life. You're giving blood to create milk. So Chinese red dates are a traditional Chinese medicine that is used extensively in the last weeks of pregnancy and postpartum to literally begin to rebuild that blood again. And they, yes, boiled and you can add them to soups. You can drink them as teas. Yes, they are an amazing postpartum replenishing food.
Beautiful. And what is one thing you wish every new mum knew?
Mm.
Mm.
That um, that time, it's not going to last forever. Yeah, it's going to every hurdle. There's going to be a hurdle at all the developmental points, at all your hormonal shifts,
Mm.
and it's going to even out eventually.
Yeah.
And it will happen, that will even out quicker. I'm talking about your health and baby's development and growth and your bond together, but all that will come to balance quicker when the mum is supported.
Yeah, beautiful. Thank you. And finally, if you could give postpartum a theme song, what would it be?
You ask great questions. Um, it would have to be Run the World. Girls Run the World by
Yes,
Beyoncé. Yes.
yes. Run the world, girls. Yes, that's it. I'm going to be singing that all afternoon now.
Yeah.
Perfect, Beck. It has been, yeah, so lovely having you on today. Your wealth of knowledge is just so empowering and nourishing and supportive. And thank you for the work that you do in supporting women in our beautiful Adelaide area. And if you have any questions to the viewers here listening and want to set up your postpartum support, like Beck was suggesting early on, please, please, please get in contact with Beck at Mother Nature Heals in Port Noarlunga. I think you also do online support as well. Is that right, Beck?
Yeah, absolutely. And that's really common in the postpartum period as well. I don't expect any new mum, or also mum life in general, especially when you have multiple children as well, to have to come to the clinic. So yeah, it's very flexible, the postpartum arrangements. Pajamas and bed is to be expected. Yeah.
Perfect. Thank you so much, Becky. Go enjoy this sunshine today.
Thank you, Lucy. Thanks so much for having me today.
Bye.